Good evening again. Thank you so much for joining the meeting tonight. We are having just a couple of technical difficulties, and I just want to make sure that the rest of the community that's trying to join has the correct link. If you'll allow just a couple more minutes, we'll get started shortly. Okay, thank you so much for your patience this evening. We apologize for the technical difficulties that you've experienced, and we will go ahead and begin tonight's meeting. So I'd just like to say thank you for joining again. This is for the Ddot Massachusetts Avenue Northwest Project Virtual Community Meeting. My name is Stacy Hemby from TB&A, and my team and I provide outreach support for this project. The purpose of this evening's meeting is to provide an overview of the project and to share some of the things that you can expect during construction, such as construction activities, schedules, and how traffic will be maintained. So we also want to take this time after the presentation to address your questions and your concerns. The team will start by doing a presentation. During the presentation, everyone's mic except the presenters will be muted, and that's just to avoid background noise. We'd like to point out the Q&A option for leaving your questions throughout the meeting. If you're calling in, please feel free to jot down your questions at the end of the presentation. Your questions will be addressed in the order received. I would also like to make you aware that this meeting will be recorded, and that's just to capture your comments and concerns accurately. To begin the presentation, Robin Jackson, Ddot Project Manager, will get us started by providing a project overview along with other pertinent information. But before I turn it over to Robin, I'd like to also introduce Hunte Kim, the Ddot Program Manager, who will be available along with the rest of the team to answer your questions at the end of the presentation. So now I'll turn it over to Robin to begin the presentation.
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Robin Jackson. I am the Deputy Program Manager for Wards 1 and 2 in the Infrastructure and Project Management Division at the District Department of Transportation. Thank you for joining us for tonight's presentation. We're excited to kick off the construction phase of the rehabilitation of Massachusetts Avenue. This design in 2020. At this time, Washington Gas planned to start work on a major capital improvement project along Massachusetts Avenue. To avoid conflict and reduce the intensity of traffic impacts in the area, Ddot delayed the start of rehabilitation of Mass Avenue project until now. So tonight, you'll hear from representatives of the project team as we provide a brief overview of the construction project, the project timeline, what activities to expect, and how the construction team plans to keep you safe. Next slide. From Ddot, the project team consists of myself and Dama Jamamba, who is an experienced project engineer with Ddot. Ddot will be represented by HNTB, Andy Graff, and Sean Davis as construction managers. Outreach and communication to the public will be led by Stacy Hemby and Jarrell Johnson of Tina Boyd Associates, and our construction contractor is Milani Construction. Next slide. The purpose of today's meeting is to introduce the public to the construction team and to present key features to be constructed. We will also discuss the sequence of activities, when and where to anticipate work in certain areas, as well as how to communicate and report questions or concerns to the project team. Next slide. As mentioned, the project is a rehabilitation of Massachusetts Avenue. The project area is just under a mile from 20th Street to Waterside Drive, including Sheridan Circle. The primary purpose of the project is to reconstruct sections of the avenue that are in poor condition and replace old pavement. In addition, this project includes improvements to the existing streetscape, which will be discussed later in the presentation. Next, I'll turn over to Andy Graff, who will discuss more about the upcoming project activities.
So in order to meet those project objectives, the project will undertake the following construction activities: reconstruction of the roadway, install new LED streetlights, install new ADA compliant sidewalks, replace curb and gutters along the corridor, a few green infrastructure improvements, including permeable pavers, some bioretention planters, and flexible porous sidewalk pavement. The project will install additional landscaping, upgrade the storm sewer system, as well as install a new water main on the southeast side of the project. Project will also install new traffic signals, signs, and pavement markings. And finally, the project will install new bicycle racks, trash receptacles, and park benches across the corridor. So we're going to look at each of these improvements in a bit more detail. The first being really the main objective of the project is the roadway reconstruction. The existing Massachusetts Avenue roadway was constructed in the 1950s. Since then, the pavement sections of some areas has deteriorated over time, requiring repeated resurfacing by Ddot to maintain a drivable condition. So in order to address this structurally deficient pavement, the project will utilize two construction methods. The first is a full depth reconstruction of the roadway. The second is a mill and asphalt overlay. The mill and asphalt overlay requires just removing the top few inches of the existing asphalt and then replacing it with a new surface. This will only be used in areas where the roadway subgrade is still in a favorable condition. These areas are from 24th Street to the southeast side of Sheridan Circle, as well as a small area just northwest of Waterside Drive. The full roadway reconstruction will take place between Waterside Drive to 24th Street, and then a second area from the southeast side of Sheridan Circle to 20th Street. For this work, the project will remove the existing asphalt and concrete base shown here in the top cross section. The existing subgrade soils underneath there will then be examined, and anything deemed unsuitable will be removed. Then the roadway section will be reconstructed using graded aggregate base and different layers of various asphalt mixes.
So now let's discuss some of the existing non-ADA compliant sidewalk conditions within the project corridor. Some of these conditions in different areas involve cracked and damaged concrete, as well as areas of upheaval of the concrete from tree root growth near the surface. Rectification of these existing sidewalk conditions will be done using three different construction elements. First, new standard 2x2 concrete block sidewalks will be placed. Second, permeable cobble pavers will be installed. Third, flexible porous pavement will also be used in some areas. The permeable cobble pavers and flexible porous pavement are intended to be part of green infrastructure improvements being implemented throughout the project. These two will also allow water to penetrate and drain into a stone reservoir below, allowing water to be used by the surrounding plantings. It will also provide more flexibility for protection against damage to plant root systems in the surrounding areas. There are also some additional ADA compliance issues that exist along the project corridor with the sidewalk handicap access ramps in certain locations. These areas do not have detectable warning surfaces embedded within the concrete. There is also an issue with the sloping of the ramps not being in ADA compliance in certain locations. Correction of these ramps will be done with the construction of new ramps that will be in ADA compliance by embedding the detectable warning surface within the concrete during construction, as well as providing proper slope to meet the ADA standards. These ADA compliances will be verified in the field by inspection by members of the project team. The project will also be performing streetlight upgrades from the current existing Cobra head style streetlights to teardrop style new LED lights at intersections, as well as Washington Globe style new LED lights at mid-block sections. Additional overall corridor improvements include protect and upgrade existing landscaping. The project team is aware of the sensitivity around existing landscaping features, particularly the historic trees along the project corridor, and specific measures are built into the project specifications to protect the trees and root systems during construction. The project team will work closely with the Ddot Urban Forestry Division to ensure these specifications are adhered to. The project will also be installing bioretention planters at various locations throughout the project corridor to add to the green space of the Massachusetts Avenue. These bioretention planters will be installed in accordance with DOEE requirements. The project will also be replacing 5 park benches, as well as 42 new bicycle racks, 19 new trash receptacles, as well as updating the parking meters to more energy efficient solar powered versions. There will also be upgrades to the traffic signals in various locations along the project corridor.
So let's take a look at the timeline to complete these construction activities. We're here this evening with the virtual public pre-construction meeting. Our team is currently coordinating with the construction contractor, Milani, to start construction next month, March of 2021. We then expect that all construction activities will be completed by December of 2022. So given the scope of the project, there will be impacts along the corridor and to the traveling public. One of the first activities you will see is underground utility work. This is very similar to the ongoing Washington Gas relocation project, for which our team will be coordinating with as they begin to wrap up their work. During the initial construction of this project, daily lane closures will be in effect utilizing traffic drums, cones, and electronic arrow boards. These will be set up each morning and then removed each afternoon at the end of the work shift. However, for some activities later in the project, such as the sidewalk replacement, driveway replacements, and the roadway reconstruction, the project will employ long-term lane closures. These are closures in which the active work zone is protected behind traffic barrier. And this traffic barrier remains in place throughout both working and non-working hours. Construction will also require the need for temporary parking restrictions. There will be advance notice and signage in place well in advance before these go into effect. And the replacement of the sidewalks will require temporary closures. However, detours will be provided for pedestrian access throughout the corridor during construction. And finally, construction activities will require some temporary relocations of bus stops along Massachusetts Avenue. These closures will be coordinated by our team with WMATA. And again, advance notice will be given to the public before these closures or relocations go into effect. Construction hours, will be between 9:30 a.m. and 3:30 p.m. when we're working behind those daily lane closures that are picked up at the end of each work shift. But when we do get to working behind the long-term lane closures, construction hours may be between 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. During construction hours, obviously there are some activities that will produce noise. However, the project team will monitor this to keep noise levels below 60 decibels. Saturday night work, this will only be for special circumstances with advance notice to the public. And there's currently no anticipated construction work on Sundays for the project.
So up to this point, we've been discussing what the project will do throughout the construction phases. Now we'd like to spend a few minutes and explain the construction sequence for the project. So the project has been divided into 5 different areas, A through E, A being at the northernmost point of the project limits and E being at the southernmost point of the project limits. So within these areas, the sequence of construction will generally begin with underground utility work. This will include storm sewer replacements and upgrades, lighting and traffic signal upgrades, DC water main work. The project will then move into the flatwork portion, which will include curb and gutter replacements, sidewalk and ramp replacements, as well as concrete driveway replacements to the residences and businesses along the corridor. Then the project will move into the main focus, which is the roadway reconstruction, and then final resurfacing of the asphalt. The roadway reconstruction has been further broken down into 4 phases, as you see here. Within these phases, the general public can expect long-term lane closures. However, the project will maintain a minimum of 1 lane of travel in each direction during these closures. Maintenance of traffic on the project will involve advanced warning signs and arrow boards, as well as portable variable messaging signs. These signs and arrow boards are intended to update the public and keep them informed about upcoming construction activities on the project, as well as guide and direct traffic in around the construction activities. The project will maintain access to businesses and residences during the construction phases. Pedestrian safety will be handled using barricades. There's an example there in the upper right-hand corner that you would be likely to see throughout the construction phases. These barricades are intended to separate the construction activities from the pedestrian pathways during the construction. For safety, the project generally requests that the public do not enter the construction zones. Do not move through the barricades that separate the construction zones from the pedestrian walkways. These are in place to protect the safety of the construction workers as well as the general public. If you see something interesting about the project, Stacy will now come up and tell us about the public outreach and how to stay connected with the project.
Thank you, Sean. So as these improvements that you've heard about are being made, it's very important for us to stay connected with you. So throughout the project, we will ensure that you have continuous access to all project-related information, and that will include traffic pattern changes, major project milestones, and construction updates. We will be using multiple methods to stay connected with you. That will include the project website, Ddot traffic advisory releases. The project team will also be emailing traffic advisories and major milestones to those who have provided an email address to us. And we will also have an outreach team that will be out on the corridor to share information as needed. Next slide, please. So again, our goal is to stay connected. So here are some of the resources that we are providing to make sure that that happens. We have listed the project engineer, Dama Jamambo, and I will read his email address for those on the phone. It's DEINMA.JAMABO@dc.gov. The construction manager for the project you've heard from, Sean Davis. His email address is shdAVIS@htb.com. And then, of course, you can definitely reach out to me. My name is Stacy. My email address is stacee@tbaconnects.com. That's TBACONNECTS.com. And then we will have a project website. It will be available before the start of construction on March 1. It's currently under construction, but we will definitely send that project website information out to all those who have joined tonight and the email list that we have currently. And that's, next slide, please. So that concludes the presentation. And we will now open up the meeting for a Q&A session. I'd like to remind you of the Q&A option. I see some of you begin to use that for asking questions. We are continuing to monitor that section. As questions come through, they will be read and a team member will answer them in the order received. If you're dialing in, we realize that you may not be able to use that platform. So if you're dialing in and you have questions, please hit *3 on your phone's keypad. This will raise your hand for us and a team member will recognize this, unmute your mic, and that's so that you can answer your question. Before stating your question, we just ask that you please state your name and mute yourself if you're not speaking to avoid background noise. One quick note, the meeting will end at, we'll do 8:05 since we started 5 minutes late. And if by chance we're not able to address your questions tonight due to those time constraints, we will be posting a FAQ sheet on the website that will address like all of the questions that are posted tonight through the Q&A and answers for those questions. So we'll begin now, and I'm going to go to the Q&A section. And I'll start with the first question, which is, moment. Will peg buttons along the corridor be converted so they are pre-timed, especially the one at California Avenue, which is at least 15 feet from the curb ramp?
Andy or Sean, have you seen any specific requirement for this, the signal in the spec?
Yeah, Hunter, I know we do have accessible pedestrian signal buttons, which is what's being referred to here. Regarding the timing, if we can get who asked the question, the contact information, we can follow up specific to that intersection. I do know we have them on the project. I just don't have what the timing information is right now.
Yeah, hi, my name is Hunter Kim, Program Manager for IPMD Team 1. I've been also communicating with the publics and ASCs on this project for the last 3 years. Just like Andy said, we will double check with our the signal department when we upgrade the signals. There might be some additional upgrade on other features, but we may have to go back and double check this. We will provide the answers at a later time. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Andy and Hante. The next question I have is, what steps will you take to ensure that Ddot's contractors maintain safe accommodations for pedestrian and bicyclists throughout the project? Will there be proactive inspections by public space?
Okay, I can answer this one if you want.
Yes, please.
So there will be daily inspections. So we're going to be keenly focused on the cleanliness of the project and any obstructions into the pedestrian or bicyclist walkways throughout the project. And certainly if something is seen or anything like that, feel free to contact the project team and we'll take immediate action.
Thank you, Sean. And also, we are coordinating with our public space inspection team, and they will also have a frequent visit to the site to ensure that our contractor are performing their work in a safe way, and that will be a duplicated and double protection and inspection to ensure the public safety to be done by our CM team as well as the public space division of Ddot.
Okay, thank you for that. The next question that we have is, Mass Ave west of R Street is on Move DC as a future bike corridor. How does the project team excuse not installing a bike lane as part of this project?
Yeah, I can answer this. So as we have emphasized during the presentation, our main focus, or I would say objectives of the project is to reconstruct the aged pavement of the Mass Ave corridor, which has been more than, I would say, 70 years old. So that has been causing natural deterioration and failure at various locations. To do this, our project, we're not actually moving any curbs. So we are maintaining the same width, and we know that this corridor may convert into our one of the bike lane corridor in the future. And in that case, our work does not have to be repeated as we put the new pavement along the way. and the bike lane can be done in a probably an easier way without the combining of other types of the civil work, the capital work as a whole. So thank you for the comment, but I would like to just emphasize the main focus of our project at this time. Thank you.
Okay, the next question that I have is, will there be any examination of historical artifacts that may be under the current roadbed?
Let me tell you this way. When we initiate the project, we have been coordinating with DC SHPO office, DC Historical Preservation Office, and they typically give us a comment or any indication based on the record and their knowledge if the anticipated project section may encounter unknowns such as historical artifact. So far we didn't hear any comment, any worries, or any cautions from the SHPO office, and that's how we were signed off by them. And of course, our contractor will be careful to and will be prompt to report back to Ddot if they find anything during the construction. But as we said, during the construction, during the presentation, the reconstruction of the roadway is pretty much the replacement of the old pavement and subgrade soils, which were imported and placed back in 1950. So most of the time, based on our geotechnical examination, most of the area is actually urban fill. We haven't encountered any native soil so far within the anticipated depths of the construction.
Okay, and the next question I have is, will Ddot or DOEE be responsible for maintaining the bioretention planters?
Yes, Ddot will be responsible for maintaining the bioretention planters. I believe it is planned to be done in a quarterly time. And yes, the answer is yes. It will be under Ddot's responsibility.
Okay, thank you, Hante. And then we had another question in the chat. It was asking if a recording of this meeting will be available on the project website later this week. And I answered that via chat Q&A, but I just wanted to read it in case others were wondering. Currently, we are planning to upload a copy of the presentation along with a FAQ sheet that will include the questions and answers from this meeting. So let me know if anyone has any questions regarding that. We'll move on to the next question. What will happen with the sidewalks alongside the long-term lane closures?
I think either Andy or Sean, can you please answer this?
Yeah, I'll start here with the response. So when we have long-term lane closures to do the roadway reconstruction, that will close a lane of traffic. Sidewalks at that point will still be open to the public. And in fact, we'll use some pedestrian channelizing barricades to protect pedestrians from the nearby excavation for the roadway reconstruction. So sidewalks will remain open when we're in the roadway doing the complete reconstruction. Now we kind of then swap that when we have to redo the sidewalk. We'll have the long-term closure in place, and using temporary ADA ramps can move pedestrians from the existing sidewalk that's now under construction into the roadway, again, using temporary ADA ramps, and they'll be protected from traffic by either concrete or plastic barrier filled with water.
Okay, thank you, Andy. So I will ask the next question, two questions, and then I'll go to, we have some hand raises from the phone. So this next question in Q&A is, for the section of Mass Ave north of Sheridan Circle, there has been regular shaking of buildings when large trucks, buses, and construction vehicles go over manholes and other sections of the road. How will you ensure that this is corrected? And the second part to that is, especially if that section is not undergoing full reconstruction.
Okay. I have been coordinating with the residents near that location probably about 2 years ago, when there was a issue with a vibration from the abandoned manhole, and I believe that manhole has been corrected and backfilled upon abandonment. And most of the section, well, probably north of the R Street, Andy or Sean, correct me if I'm wrong, but the north of the R Street section will be reconstructed, which means the pavement, existing pavement, will be removed up to the subgrade level. And once the subgrade is exposed, our inspector and contractor will examine the subgrade, whether it is solid enough to have a new pavement or not. If it's not, then we will have to remove some of the subgrade soil and replace it with a good material. So that the process it will be a very typical practice for the reconstruction of the pavement, and it will be implemented all over the locations. So during the time, we will make sure that, and our CM team will also have a geotechnical engineer on site to help them to guide, and also we will continuously monitor by exposing the subgrade if we have to do any additional work to reinforce the weak soil. Other than that, we will probably move on to place the new pavement. So in short, our answer is yes, we will ensure that our subgrade is strong enough to have the new pavement and reduce any future issues in terms of vibration and the ridership. There might be a chance that other locations or other factors causing that kind of issue. If you have identified any specific locations, any specific the manholes or other factors you experience, please let us know. We will be more than happy to take a look at it and try to fix or help to address that as much as possible.
Okay, thank you for that, Hunte.
Stacy, if I may add to what Hunte said there briefly, so
Sure.
just to give a better idea, the north of Sheridan Circle, the full depth or planned full depth reconstruction of the roadway will begin roughly around 24th Street and extend north to Waterside Drive. And again, that's north of Sheridan Circle there.
Okay, thank you, Sean. All right, so we will take the two hand raises that came in between these questions. So if the host could unmute so that the first question can be asked.
Call-in user 13, we are unmuting you. Call-in user 13, you are unmuted.
Okay. My question is my name is Chris Line, by the way. The section between 20th and 21st, when do you expect major road activity there?
Sean or Andy?
Yes, so you're talking about area D there, roughly. Do you have any specific activity that you're looking for? Otherwise, I would have to go back and look in detail at the schedule to get some timelines and get back to you.
I think in general, though, you're probably referring to the roadway reconstruction activities or the long-term closure, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, you can't get the exact month. I mean, that's going to be in the later phases of the project, initially starting this spring and through the remainder of 2021 is going to be a lot of the underground utilities. We can kind of, like Sean mentioned, narrow down, probably give a range of months specific to your interests. But it's going to be some time before we put these long-term lane closures and get to the major reconstruction.
Okay, but there will be, I think I heard the access will be maintained throughout the project.
Correct, that is the plan.
Okay, and that's vehicular as well as pedestrian?
Correct.
Right, we'll be working with the residencies as well as the embassies when we come there to do driveway reconstruction, as well as working in those long-term closures.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you for that. And we had a second hand raised that we'd like to address now before we go back to the chat Q&A for a second.
Judy Floyd, I am unmuting you now.
Thank you, and thank you for this informative meeting. My name is Judy Floyd. I am ANC Commissioner for 1B06. This section of Massachusetts Avenue is very special in that it is not going by federal government buildings. It's not going by residential buildings. It's not going by shops, but rather it's going by embassies. As a tour guide, we often take tour buses from the downtown area to the National Cathedral on this route. I'm wondering if the tourists will still be able to see the embassies during this extended construction period. I'm also interested in knowing on how your plans will be in cooperation with our esteemed embassy guests who are here representing their countries.
Okay, this is Hunter Kim from Ddot again. We do not expect to block the view to the embassy from the roadways. There will be some the george barriers and some tree protections around the trees, which may hinder a little or limit the views at different locations. But overall, the roadway construction is happening in the roadways and sidewalk as well. We don't. I'm pretty sure all the embassies may be still visible during construction. If any of the team members see a different point of view, they should let everyone know.
Any additional from the team before I move on? Okay. All right, so I'll go back to Q&A as these came in turn, and then I'll come back to the raised hands. So the next question in Q&A is, for the section C below 24th to Sheridan, there is major shaking when large trucks hit certain sections. Will this be fixed with the project? And I believe that was a question that was answered previously. Do we need to provide more information there?
Yeah, I also see the question from the chat box. I think it is referred to the ongoing construction by Washington Gas, and I believe they are only excavating and backfilling the very narrow section for their work. And I do not believe they are actually addressing or fixing the root cause problems of the subgrade during their backfilling. So upon completion of their gas line work, they are simply backfilling the excavated area and just try to restore the section as it was. So our project will definitely go deeper than that and definitely check the overall the condition of the subgrade before we place the new pavement. And I am pretty sure that will address much of the vibration issues at the location. But again, please let us know if you have any specific locations of your concern, and we will pay extra attention to that issue. Thank you.
Okay, and we have another question. Actually, it's a refinement to the one as previously. You're actually asking, will a video and audio recording of this virtual meeting be posted for the public? Unfortunately, we're not posting a video or audio for this particular meeting, but we will try to do that going forward. Does any of the team have anything to add to that?
Yeah, Stacy, I can just add it. We actually are doing a Facebook Live now, and this recording should be on our Ddot's YouTube page in the future.
Okay, thank you for that, Robin. And the next question I have, actually, Stacy, Restore Mass Ave can help with your outreach to property owners along the avenue. We know basically all of them. So thank you very much for that. We appreciate the help with this outreach. The next question that I have in the Q&A is, we are in section C where utility work has been taking place because of the uneven pavement, asphalt patches. Our houses on the 2300 block are shaking and jolting. Can workers monitor the asphalt as it settles? We have asked workers to no avail. Thanks. And I know you kind of addressed that, but anything to add to that question?
Yeah, I think I was specifically addressing that question.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, just want to make sure you didn't have anything to add. The next question that we have is, what will the new configuration of the road surface be? Will you install protected bike lanes, especially in the segment below California where you have 50 foot curb row?
The roadway configuration will be the same as of now today. Once we complete the construction, in the beginning of the design, we actually considered the realignment of the lane widths and reduce by adding one more lane, by reducing the lane widths of other lanes. But there were mixed comment on that, and after additional analysis and the feedback from the community, that plan was not taken to move forward. Again, our focus on this project is to reconstruct the old pavement, and that will be the primary goal to achieve by us. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Hante. The next question is, root heaving of the sidewalk. Can you show an image and describe plans to raise the grade there as needed?
I can address this here. So in most cases where there is some existing concrete sidewalk upheaval from the tree roots, that's where we'll be utilizing that flexible porous sidewalk pavement. And what that material is it's recycled material held together with a binder, and is porous to allow water to infiltrate into the system. And underneath that recycled material is a bed of number 50 stone approximately 3/4 of an inch in size. That kind of works as a reservoir where water can drain. we can raise grades as needed depending on location of routes. There are some limits for both longitudinal and cross slopes of sidewalk by ADA. We've done some of this work elsewhere in the district. And Stacy, if you can put me in touch with whoever asked that question, I can provide some kind of, technical details as well as some photos of before, after, and during construction of this material.
Yeah, thank you, Andy. I think the question was from Deborah Shapley. I am familiar with Deborah. In general, our construction related to the landscaping work will be closely coordinated with the UFD, our Ddot Urban Forestry Department. They are supposed to come out and examine the existing tree condition and give us a specific direction as well. So we will continue to do that to address any issues, including heaving or the root issues, or if any decision need to be made to raise the grade, then we will definitely consult with our UFD for further actions.
Thank you for that, Andy and Jose. So we'll do one more question here, and then we'll move back to the hand raised questions. The next question is, how many lanes will there be in each direction at the end of the project?
Oh, it will be the same as of today. There will be 2 lanes each direction.
Thank you for that. Host, do you mind taking the next hand raised question?
Gordon, we are unmuting you now.
Hi, my name is Gordon Chaffin. I want to thank you guys for doing this project with a lot of needed improvements. But I did want to say how extremely frustrated I am. I understand your comments about mixed community reaction. However, the city has a master transportation plan, and this segment of road is set for bike priority improvements, and you have plenty of curb right away. So I don't understand why you're doing a restriping in at the end of this, and it'll be the same dangerous design that it is today.
The project was initiated back in 2016. So, as I emphasized multiple times, there was a strong need for the existing pavement to be replaced at multiple locations or along the corridor. And that actually caused us to start the project. It'll be really nice to have the bike lanes and then probably start to work on that all together. But we made a decision to move forward to address this immediate need first. And as it was commented, this bike lane on Mass Avenue is currently considered as part of the upcoming Move DC. So,
no, sir, that's incorrect. It was the 2014 Move DC, actually. So you should have been following the plan that you already had.
We have checked with the bike team at Ddot when we start the project, and that was not the information or direction we received. But nonetheless, this project is not going to hinder or change any plan, a future plan to place the bike lane. We are simply replacing the existing pavement with a new one. It's not restriping. We are removing the whole section of the old pavement down to the dirt to expose the subgrade and address all the problems which have been causing all the failures and deterioration of the top pavement from the soil by reinforcing the soil or replacing with the new soil, and then we're going to bring up the pavement. That is very, very important to prolong the overall pavement life. So that's why we are here to present our project and share the information what we are trying to do. If you have any additional questions about the bike lanes on Mass Ave, we would like to have that and bring it back to our bike team for their more consideration and directions. I'll be more than happy to relay the information. Thank you.
Thank you, Hante. And are there any other hand raises right now?
No.
Thank you. Okay, so I'll go back to the Q&A. The next question is, or statement is, I'm not asking about APS. I'm asking about BEG function. And that was a follow-up question.
Yeah, okay. That was a question that came up earlier. Just doing a quick look here while we're answering questions. I'm not seeing that the project currently adds that, but I'll continue looking and then I can follow up after the meeting.
Okay, Commissioner Floyd, I believe your question was answered earlier. I'll just read it just to make sure the team doesn't have anything additional. Tourist motor coaches use the route to and from the National Cathedral. Tourists expect to be able to see the embassy buildings. Will their views be obstructed? Will the lanes be wide enough for motor coaches? Anything additional to add there before I move on? Okay. So the next question that we have is, why isn't a protected bike lane being included in this project? New DC law requires that when roadway improvement projects are undertaken on the roads, they are called out in the new DC plan. Must see those protected bike lanes built. I believe you just addressed that, Hante. Anything to add before I move on? Okay. The next question is, can you address why section C will have mill and asphalt while all other parts of the project will undergo deep road reconstruction? We would like to make sure that the jolting and shaking in section C is addressed. Thanks.
Okay. It was done, I mean, the decision was made based on the various approaches, including the geotechnical investigation during the design. So typically we drill the pavement all the way down to the existing subgrade soil and see if the soil is strong and solid enough to, or currently if there is any issue with the subgrade. And those sections, the section C, I believe, was identified as a section with the relatively strong and solid subgrade condition at this time. So that's how we decide to proceed with the milling and repaving for that section.
Okay, thank you. And the next question we have is, what special measures are planned for the sidewalk and road work around Sheridan Circle? There are many very large trees in your work area and beside it whose root systems will be endangered.
Hey, Sean, this is Sean with HNTV. So the sidewalk work around Sheridan Circle is planned to be mainly the flexible asphalt paving. So that is intended, like Andy said earlier, intended to be more flexible and allow some accommodation for the root system growth. And as far as the road work goes, there again, that is the mill and overlay area. So the project is not expected to go into any depth, or construction won't go to any depths that should impact the root systems with respect to the roadway mill and overlay. Thank you.
Thank you for that. And this question has been answered, but I just want to acknowledge it. There's a Facebook Live question. Are there plans for protected bike facilities? That question has been answered. So I'll move on to the next question in Q&A. And that question is two parts. Was there any consideration of big belly solar public litter cans? If those are too expensive, is there consideration of cans with tops that prevent illegal residential trash dumping? And the second part, I'll let you answer that and then I'll move on to the next one.
Our current plan is to replace the existing trash can with the Ddot standard trash can. We have not considered any different type of trash can other than the standard per Ddot specification. It's not about the cost. It is mainly related to the maintenance in the future. And yeah, let me put it that way. Thank you.
Okay, and this is kind of a follow-up. What will prevent dog poop bags from slipping to bottoms of cans outside of liners currently is happening? Anything to add for that question, Hante?
I'm not sure if I can answer that question.
Okay, yeah. Okay, the next question is, with limited traffic on Mass Ave during construction, traffic on Waterside Drive will definitely be impacted. What are your plans for dealing with that traffic?
Sean or Andy, would you please share the traffic maintenance information?
Right. I'm not sure. I assume they're asking about southeastern, I guess, bound traffic coming down. Just also want to make it clear too, I mean, there will always be a minimum of one lane obviously open in each direction. And, you know, lane closures, the temporary lane closures that are put up on a daily basis that we spoke about, those are put up after rush hour, 9:30 a.m. and taken down before rush hour. I think it's really just the long-term lane closures that could have more significant impact. But if there is something, that's something that our team can coordinate with individuals at Ddot. If there needs to be revised traffic signals, as well as obviously National Park Service with additional traffic going onto Rock Creek. So I know from my side, on the construction manager side, being out in the field, that is something that's part of our daily MOT inspections, is making sure that traffic can move freely throughout the project corridor. And if it is an issue, that's something we will address.
Thank you, Andy. I believe the next question has been answered. I'll acknowledge it and then ask for team if you have any other additional comments. You're going to restripe the road. Why are you restriping an unsafe design on a designated bike priority route? Any team member have anything to add for that? Okay. The next question I have is, what is the Kelvin for the LED street lights? 3000 K, Restore Mass Ave and International Dark Sky Association seeks no more than 2700 K.
Yeah, I believe the LED, the street light plan for the project is 3000 K. And I do understand that our Ddot streetlight division is still performing the analysis or evaluation to accept 2700K, even though some sections of the city may have already been implemented for this lower the LEDs. Again, this is more about the Ddot, the standard, the current standard compliance. And if there is any change from the Ddot streetlight division or in terms of this LED, the brightness, then we'll definitely make the change accordingly. But currently it's 3,000 K.
Thank you, Hante. So the next couple of comments are based on your discussion about protected bike lanes. I'll acknowledge, I believe they've been answered. You don't need extra width for PBLs. You have 50-foot southeast of California Ave. You have 50-foot curb right of way. So does the team have anything to add there? I believe everything was addressed.
Yeah, I mean, we are getting into the construction phase on this project now. I'm not saying that nothing can be done, but it was not part of the project plan. If you have any specific comment on the bike lanes, please forward that to the Ddot bike lane team led by George Brunion, or you can forward it to me so I can relay that information to them. Thank you.
I'm sorry, thank you, Hante. So the next question I have is, will there be interruptions / outages of public utilities during the construction period?
No, not at all. We do not expect any interruptions or outages of public utilities at this time. There is a water main replacement work on the south of Sheridan Circle. That if water main need to be shut off for replacement, DC Water will definitely notify to all the residents in well advance and continue to coordinate. And Ddot will help them to communicate with the community in advance of any interruption or outage of their public utilities. Thank you.
Thank you. What type of concrete for the main sidewalk? The historical look will be best with exposed aggregate. Can you do this?
The current the project plan have the Ddot standard concrete sidewalk in most of the section, and as Sean described, there are several sections, especially around the tree boxes with the more green, space-friendly material types, such as porous pavement and those. Exposed aggregate, do we have any exposed aggregate in any of the section?
I'm not
Nothing-
aware of any, Hante.
Yeah.
Correct,
Okay.
nothing's called for.
Yeah, we do not have that the material type for the new sidewalk at any of the sections this time.
Thank you, team. The next question I have is, since the construction on Mass Ave will limit traffic on the Ave, there will be an increase in traffic on Waterside Drive. What is your plan for dealing with that increase in traffic, which is already a problem? I believe this was addressed, but anything to add? Okay.
Probably one thing I would like to add is our main portion of the work will happen outside the peak traffic peak area, peak hours, which is between 9:30 a.m. to 3:30 a.m. So in addition to all the plan, the traffic control, and maintenance of traffic plan as we will implement with the construction.
Okay, next question. Has Ddot informed the Islamic Center that the wider road in front of it will be taken away for the new bioretention area? Crowds gather there every Friday. They use that extra lane a lot. Has the center commented on this plan?
I'm trying to remember the specific location of that center. We probably have to get back. There is one section. No, it's not. It's not the section I remember. No, we do not plan to convert any of the areas or roadways in front of the Islamic Center into a bioretention at this time. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. The next question that I have is, didn't we just go through this on Connecticut Avenue 18 months ago? What's the point of new bike racks if nobody can ride safely to them? Any additional comments to add about the?
No further comment.
Okay, how many bioretention areas will there be and where?
So I'll answer this. I think this is kind of related to 2 questions ago about coordination with the Islamic Center. So right now there are 2 bioretention areas, at least shown on the contract drawings. And I think, Hunte, this is what they're asking. There is a bump out area from the regular lane configuration in front of the Islamic Center. And at least currently that's showing where we would put the bioretention plan. So
okay.
Might be something we have to confirm, offline as a project team and make sure that's still a path forward.
Thank you for the correction.
Okay, and so they asked, the next question after that one was about how many areas will there be total, and locations? Is that maybe something we can?
You're right, yeah, sorry. So currently there are just 2 locations and they're both on the northwest side of the project, close to the Islamic Center.
Okay, thank you for that, Andy. The next question is, the issue of the manhole was corrected. With the work now, the problem has resurfaced, as I explained in my prior question. I hope I read that right. We may have to get some clarity on that question.
Yeah.
Okay. Laura, can you please repost with a little bit more information, please? Apologies for that. The next question is, I was hoping to see how the traffic flow is going to be upon completion. 1 or 2 lanes in each direction, width of lanes, bike lanes, etc. This is not a very informative information meeting with limited exceptions. Thanks for at least holding the meeting. Any team member have anything to answer?
No, it'll be the same 2 lanes in each direction upon completion.
Okay. The next statement says, so these are Laura's comments seem to be in replies to some of the statements that we've made. I'll just read this. It says, we did the T-cut in front of Chilean ambassador's house. Does anybody know what that reference is to?
I think I know, as I've been communicating with Laura in previous years, and I think Laura also put the comment right next to it to offer to meet our representative on site to see any concerns from her house. Yeah, once we start the construction, please reach out to us and either Andy or Sean, and we will probably find a chance to meet you and discuss further about any specific concern by you regarding the vibration. Even though I cannot guarantee that we will fix or we will completely address your concern for the vibration issue, at least we will try to fix the issue or cause coming from the roadway section. At least that's what I can assure at this time. Thank you.
Thank you, Hante. And just her comment after, happy to meet your representative and welcome you into my house so that you can feel the shaking firsthand and I can show what happens when a vehicle goes by. Thanks. So moving to the next question, when is there major disruption in area A? Andy, I don't know if you want to bring back up the area map.
Right, area A is the northwestern side of the project. Current schedule as it's shown, I think we would be at the very end of 2021. We would be up at area A doing sidewalk replacement and driveway replacement. And then I have here that the roadway reconstruction would be in the spring of 2022. But that's our current schedule and what we're working towards, but obviously that's, subject to change as on any, potential unforeseen conditions that could come up on the project.
Thank you. And the next question, can you please clarify how many trees will be removed and or replaced as part of this project? What is the net impact in terms of tree loss and reduction in canopy?
Andy, Sean, do you know how many trees?
I want to say the net is somewhere +9, but I do also want to do a little bit more research and maybe we can get, some more precision on that final answer.
I do know that the project has 45 new trees to be planted, and there are some trees to be removed, obviously. But we do need to go back and check the plans and make sure we give you an accurate number there.
Thank you, Sean and Andy. And we, again, will place a FAQ on the website so we can add additional information to that question and answer there. Next question, what determines the installation of the 3 different sidewalk surfaces?
I'll start with this, Sean, and then if you want to chime in, go for it. So we mentioned the 3 different surfaces that will be replacing the existing concrete is just the Ddot standard 2x2 concrete block, permeable pavers, and the FlexiPave. The FlexiPave is the porous, flexible pavement sidewalk. That's being used in areas where, we know or expect there'll be some conflicting tree roots. This is being used heavily around Sheridan Circle and kind of the outer loop of Sheridan Circle, I think is almost all FlexiPave. The permeable pavers are used, they typically connect tree boxes. And then the sections that are normally, we try to maintain a minimum of a 4-foot section, a 4-foot wide section. That would be your standard concrete sidewalk for ADA purposes. Obviously we have drawings and plans that show all these in detail. So if somebody's interested in specific areas of what's going to be what, we can certainly give you a look at that.
Okay, thank you. So the next question or statement, and this was addressed, and Laura, we can take your information. We use your email address that we have on file from the meeting, but she just, to acknowledge her statement there, thank you, but we do not think the jolting issue has been addressed or answered. Will someone come by? Can we make an appointment with you to meet at the 2300 block? And Hante's answered that, so we will definitely follow up with you. The next question regarding the permeable material, what is it made of? And 2, is it sufficiently durable to withstand being shoveled/salted in the snow and ice conditions?
Yeah, I can give a bit of background on this material just because we use it on other projects. FlexiPave is the name of the product. It is a durable, resilient material. It's made from recycled tires. I mean, as far as specific for the sidewalk shoveling, I can't answer that, but I do know it is considered a very durable material that can definitely deal with the elements, expected foot traffic as well. Again, I can share additional information on the specific of the products as well as show other locations where it's at within the district, as well as some photos from previous installations. I'd be happy to do that.
Thank you, Andy. And I'm going to step away from Q&A just for a second. I believe we have a hand raised. Molly, do we have a hand raised?
Yes, Phil has their hand raised. I'm unmuting you.
Thank you. I wanted to ask a question about the paving again, because I think there's sometimes a misunderstanding that the exposed aggregate is not the kind of National Park Service exposed aggregate you see on the mall. It's simply the DC standard exposed fine grain standard concrete exposed aggregate that's achieved by having a surface retarder. You go to Taft Bridge and you see the gray patchwork that's on there. I would consider that substandard for what should be in any neighborhood in DC, let alone a historic neighborhood. It seems to me that it's just not fully finished. And I see that same fine grain exposed aggregate, say, on Normanstone Drive, where we live. We have the flex paving by our house, but there's also sidewalk there that's gray, but there's you can see the fineness of the actual concrete in other parts of it. It's not that broom swept, sloppy mess that has really diminished the quality and character of Taft Bridge. And I think we should get something better for $22 million. So I just want to clarify that. We're not looking for anything greater than the district has done generally in the past. I don't know how the standards dropped for doing the work on Connecticut recently, but it really is below what should be expected for any neighborhood, let alone a historic area.
Thank you for the comment.
Right. Our landscape architect, the Chinese embassy, has spec'd that the kind of concrete that we put along there in Connecticut and Calorama, and it was nothing outside the normal range. It's nothing, some exotic blend of anything. It's simply just better specifications to create a better result. That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. We appreciate that. And we will go back to the Q&A. So the next statement is a question. This project started in 2016, wasn't moved DC in 2014. Any of the team have a comment about that?
Yeah, the project was started in 2016.
Okay, next comment, shaking my head that bicycle lanes are not part of this plan. And this is from Commissioner Floyd. Goodness. Any comments before I move on to the next question? Okay. What is the frequency of ongoing public engagement? You noted an email list. How do we sign up? This is the first public meeting that's occurred since 2017 to my knowledge. I encourage a more regular effort to reach neighbors and affected residents. And thank you for that, Lindsay. The public meetings before were during design phase. Now that we're in construction, we're holding this meeting to kick off the project, and we will definitely stay engaged throughout the process. You can definitely reach directly out to me. I'll provide my email address again. It's Stacey@tbaconnects.com, and that's STACEE@tbaconnects.com. In addition, we are setting up a website that will be ready before construction actually begins. So you can subscribe, you should be able to subscribe through that website. If you have any difficulties, just to shoot me an email and I'll add you to our subscriber list so that you receive traffic advisories, major milestones, and we'll also be posting construction updates on the website.
And Stacy, just let me just provide a little more information about our previous public engagement activities. Typically, Ddot capital project plan to meet and update the project progress to the public or community at every milestone. Typically, at the completion of preliminary design, we call that also 30% design. And then when we move up to intermediate design phase, and finally, before we finalize our design, we typically go out and seek for feedback from the community. I believe we have done all this. And the last, as far as I remember correctly, my attendance to ANC 2D and 2B meeting to update the project was back in 2019. Since then, the project design was complete in the beginning of 2020. And as previously explained, we encountered unexpected work conflict with the Washington Gas as they plan to come in and do the major gas main replacement work at the exact same project limit as ours. That to lessen the pressure and to avoid the complexity of the traffic in the neighborhood, Ddot decided to delay our project for 6 months. So that was a little bit of delay to communicate with the community to update the project. But I believe I've been sending some emails to ANC commissioners, and also whenever there is an issue from the resident, I was upfront to update the project and provide as much as updated information. So hopefully we will continue doing that until the end of the construction. Thank you.
Thank you, Hante. And I'd just like to make an announcement that we will be stopping at 8:05. So we'll take a couple more questions. And then those questions that are not able to be answered during this session will again be placed in an FAQ sheet and updated to the website. The next question that I have is, how will each of the 3 sidewalk systems be placed along Mass Ave?
I think that's kind of already been partially answered, Stacy. The 3 sidewalk systems being the concrete sidewalk, the permeable pavers, and the flexi pave. Again, the flexi pave is at areas where we know we're expecting to be some tree roots in conflict. The permeable pavers is typically in between tree planters, and then the rest is usually concrete sidewalk. But if whoever asked the question, if there's specific areas you're curious about, just if Stacy can get me in contact with you and I can give you some more details on what goes at what locations.
Okay, thank you for that, Andy. So the next series of questions are primarily about the shaking and vibration and the cracks in homes. They really want a team member to come out or a team to come out to take a look at this shaking. So from Laura Meredith, we have those concerns, and I will definitely follow up with you. The next question.
So I think this might be the last question. We can confirm one more time. As I previously stated, once our construction work start, one of our Ddot representative will schedule to meet resident in that area to hear the concern and to also examine the issue you may have right now. But please note that this is our project team is for the construction of the capital project. They are not supposed to address any resident related issues, or they are not supposed to perform any regular maintenance related issues. We will definitely help. We will try hard to convey the message or information to the correct department if we cannot address that. Our focus is to address any issues related to the roadway section, and hopefully that by replacing or working on the new pavement section there may address or lessen the issues from your end. But again, please be also please understand that there might be different factors affecting the current issue you may have right now. But I just wanted to make sure that everyone understands what we are going to do and what we can do and what we cannot do. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Hante. So I'll just read the last comment before we close out, which is motor coaches are not allowed on Rock Creek. They will be on Mass Ave. Did anyone have anything to add to that before we get ready to close out tonight's meeting? Okay. Okay, so before I conclude tonight's meeting, I'd just like to ask that you complete the Title VI form for us. The link for the form has been placed in the chat, and you will also be directed straight into the form at the completion of the meeting. I want to take the time to thank you very, very much for joining us, for all of your comments and your questions. And thank you for your patience in advance during construction. We really appreciate that. We wish you and your families good health. Please be safe, and this will conclude this evening's meeting.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.